we've decided we're going to be building a chicken coop. So what I'm going to do, I've picked up a whole load of timber and there's some other stuff up by the house. I'm going to be levelling it off, clearing away a lot of the ivy, and then I'm going to start building my first chicken coop. It's quite rough timber, which is fine, it doesn't bother the chickens. It's treated so it shouldn't rot, and this is all kind of like first fix construction. It's nothing pretty or especially technical joinery, it's just getting something up that can keep the chickens safe and secure. You can see where I've checked it across the diagonals, vertically, horizontally. That is level and smooth, and now what we're doing is we're just grabbing some slabs which we're going to put the timbers on. It's just going to sit on top of them, and that's absolutely fine. We're not particularly bothered about having this thing set in the ground. It's not going to be a permanent feature. I might upgrade it or make it bigger in time, but by having it on there we buy ourselves options. Although it's treated timber, it will help prevent it from, you know, rotting and decaying or being eaten at by bugs a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll just roughly plot those out and then we'll stick them down. When you're thinking about the design for your hen house and coop and all the rest of it, it's always worth doing a little sketch. That way you can figure out the sort of sizes of materials that you need, done by square meterage, and what type of timber you want and need for what, so you can just really think about it. Sorry about the flicker, I've got LEDs in the shop. The other thing that you want to think about is cleaning it. Now we're going for what's called the deep fill method, which basically means that you only have to clean it out once a year, and when you do, it just goes straight on your compost pile, which is great. And it doesn't smell either. So what you do is you basically fill the whole load with pine wood chips, which I get a ton of for free by virtue of all of the carpentry and woodwork that I do and my extraction system. So what I can do here is, all you need is to have something that's relatively waterproof or easy to clean, and this melamine faced chipboard serves that purpose. So this will be the base of the hen house, which is just perfect. The easiest way to go about this is to build the frame of the house, and then you can measure the base exactly off what measurements you've got, and you can sit this thing in. So what I'm going to do is I've got the timbers in here, and I'm going to cut them to length. Right, I've chopped up all of my timbers for the kind of frame of the house, and I'm going to start putting it together. And to do it, I'm going to use the old Hikoki nail gun. You could do it with a screwdriver, a hammer and nail, or you could do it with an impact driver, drill, whatever you've got. I'm just doing this because it's quick. It's super quick. If you haven't seen, I've done a full review on this, and I will leave a link in the description, and I'll also post a little tab here, pop up there, so you can go and take a look at that and see the review. For now, I'm going to get on and start making this thing. To do it, I want to make sure that it is square. You know, although it's kind of rough first fix lumber, it's always good practice to make sure that you're doing things properly. So I am going to be using a speed square just to make sure that everything is 90 degrees and secure and strong. So I'll be using this, and yeah, so I'm going to get started. Right, you can see I've been just double checking that this thing is fully square, which it is, which is really good. So I'm pleased with that. We want it 50 centimeters off the ground. So actually that strut there, and this strut here are going to act as the base. So now I can put some across the middle, which will help strengthen it up. This one here is going to be the side of the whole house, and there'll be mesh running along under here, and same at the back. What I want to do for now is putting a floor down on it. So what I'm going to do is measure from the front to this part here, and then from across and across here. I've put this extra one on the back because this will help hold the nesting box. So the nesting box will sit on this platform here, hence the flooring only needing to go up to that strut there. Once I've added that in, that will really help provide a lot of strength actually across the middle. Right, what I did is I took the measurements from that over there, drew them on a piece of paper and wrote them in. Then I've written out which bits I need to cut out and what size they are. Then I've just transferred that onto this sheet here. Now I'm going to cut it out on the table saw. You can see I've marked all the corners. I'll chop out these bits using my jigsaw. And then I can go and install it over there. And that's on now. So that will be the base of the hen house. And all of their litter and poo will go on there. So I'm going to put basically a siding on most of the way around. Right, all of the sides are on. They've all been screwed in except this one. This is the front, which is where we'll have the latch system and the hinge to basically open it up and scrape out all of that. It's effectively a big litter tray for chickens. So what I need to do is put some stops on the inside here and here, which will mean that when this hinges up, it will have something to stop up against. And then from the outside I can put a latch as well, just to help hold it in place. I'm going to have this inside skin, and then I'm going to have the shiplap on the outside. And then in here, I've got a whole load of insulation bags that have sheep's wool in them. And I'm just going to line this thing with some insulation. So I've just put a little batten of MDF there. This tiny little 5mm, 7mm, whatever it is, of ply. And then the shiplap will go on the outside. And it will sandwich the insulation in between. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see on there, but I've put a slight angled line across here. That's going to be the slope of the roof going down that way. So there's quite a slope on it. So all the water will run that way. So I've got that at the front and the back. What I'll do is I'll just chop that top off as I come to it. Right, I haven't secured this yet, but I just want to show what I've done. I've put a little batten across there at the right angle, and I've literally just placed this on top. I need to center it and figure out exactly where it's going to go, but that's a half decent position for it to give a good overhang here above the entrance to the coop, and also a good overhang here at the back, so that, you know, where that's the cutouts, the internal cutout for the nesting box, which will come up to about there-ish. And the lid will flap up like that. So it's coming together fine. Still quite a lot more to do, but yeah, we're getting there. There's been some slow progress this afternoon. I put the roosting bars in. They look a little bit skew-whiff on camera. It's a bit odd. They look skew-whiff, but they're not. They are dead plumb. And the reason that I've done this is because you'll have heard of the pecking order. Well, that is actually what chickens do. They will peck at each other depending on who they think is most senior, and whoever is most senior gets to go at the top. So what I've done to avoid that and to get them all staying friendly is I've put the roosting bars at the same height, and that should hopefully stop any pecking order. So I've pretty much filled the whole lot in. This I'm probably going to either keep open or just put a mesh there, because I do want some ventilation in here to allow just airflow. That's all filled up, and this has all got this kind of melamine finish. I'm going to tape these joints here rather than using a cork or anything like that. I'm just going to use tape or something like that, finishing tape that is waterproof, and that'll just make it a little bit easier to clean up basically. So that's that done, and then all I've got to do is put the cladding on the outside and make the coop, the run area. I'm pretty much done. Oh, obviously I've got to make a nesting box. Right, so I'm just adding on some of this shiplap on the side. I cut the taper off the top one, working my way down, and I've just slotted some of this sheep's wool up into the sides here, like that. I'm going to run a bead of glue along the top of here and slot it up into that one there. Nail it in and do the next one. Just keep working my way down. Just in the front of this, you can see I've put insulation in, cut it out around the hole. I've cut that, and now this basically just slots straight up in there, like that. I'm going to cut a bit more of that insulation out, I think. And then I've just got to put a couple of panels there and there. Right, that's the front of it, that's the side of it. There'll be a little corner beading there. That's the inside. That's the back where the nesting boxes are going to go. So I put insulation up under here in that section there. So now I can just put a nesting box. So I'm going to cover that little bit there, make a nesting box and stick it on. Right, at the end of yesterday, this is where I got to. Built the nesting box with a little divider. That divider helps hold that insulation in place. So now I just need to put it back and the top on, and what I'm going to do is figure out a place to secure some hinges on there for that lid, which will then just pivot up like that, just so you can get in and get the eggs from there. On this front is going to be the door. I'm going to have the hinges here and here, and the door will swing open this way so we can get in and get access to the chickens if we need to. It'll be a double skin door, so same as all the rest of this. There'll be shiplap plus an internal skin and insulation. Just to be really clear, the reason I'm insulating it isn't because it gets super cold. It's actually because this is pretty much in the sun almost all day on this side and most other sides, and it will stop the heat from getting in. Chickens are fine at looking after the cold. They're not particularly good at handling heat. So by insulating it, we reduce thermal transfer inwards as well as outwards, and I'm going to be putting ventilation here, and I'm not going to be putting a door on because this is going to be a completely enclosed coop that can be open the whole time and the chickens will still be safe. These will always be open here. This will be completely enclosed, but I'm going to make some holes up here for ventilation so there's airflow. So all I did is cut another one of these panels. I only had that linen faced stuff left over, so that's why I've used it on the outside. No other reason really. I know it's kind of semi-waterproof and I used it for the inside, but it's just what I had to hand. And then I've driven a whole load of screws in all the way around and in that middle partition. What I've done here, you can see I've notched out the corners there and there, and hopefully, depending on the size of the hinges, that's where I'll attach them, and then that will open up here, and there's plenty of space opened like this to get in to get the eggs. And that's the outside done. So I'm going to varnish, or cover the whole lot in the same stuff as I did with this kind of ducks back waterproofing. This is marine ply, so it's fine for outdoors, but I'm still going to do it, especially on the edges where it can delaminate. And then this will all get covered in cladding. It'll just be one continuous sheet that goes across the front there, but then this will open up like that. So I just grabbed one of those spare bits of framing that I've used for the rest of this, and I'm just building out the door frame for here. What I did is I used my angle finder to get this angle, measured from there to there, and I chopped that at 4 degrees, that side and that side. And then I lay one of these across the bottom, because that's going to be the bottom member. And then I just got my tape measure and I measured between these 2 points. To make life easy for myself is I took the measurement from there to the very top point, and then I just wrote 49.7 L for long, because that's obviously the longest side, the top point there. And then on this side I measured it and put 45.3 S. And obviously that's the short side. And then what I did is I set my table saw, and you can see that is one continuous piece of wood that I've just cut at 4 degrees. I measured up to 49.7 to here, then I marked across, and then I cut, and all I have to do then is mark from the short side there 45.3 to the end point there. And now these should, I haven't tested this yet, but these should fit that one there. And that fits nicely. Let me nudge that clamp over. I'll try this one. Brush the edge off there. And that is that one there. And that is perfect. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, that's That's how you easily figure out the angles and the measurements for a frame. Okay, so I've lined the inside of the door just with some thin scrap offcuts that I had lying around the shop. Now I can infill the door with some insulation, and then I'll be working out the cladding to go over the front of it. The eagle-eyed among you will have realised that I have made a slight mistake. I've made this door the full height of this opening, and I was meant to have that and then the door on top. In all honesty, I don't think it makes a vast amount of difference, and I'm not going to bother rectifying it now because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's blazing hot, and I'm kind of beyond faffing with that, frankly. So just waiting for the hinges to turn up. When they do, I'll recess them into here and into here so that there's nice space and gap, and then I'll be able to put the cladding across. The difficulty with doing it beforehand is that it makes it very difficult to see exactly where the hinges are going to be. Just thought I'd quickly show you what I'm doing with the cladding. Now I've put those 2 clamps there to allow me to rest on while I line it up, and then where the hinges are, I have basically marked out a channel, and I'm going to get rid of that. So this will stay attached, this will be attached, and then this is going to be on the kind of laying box section just over there. Just finished slicing these up. Really helpful way of doing this is by clamping it to that, because then you can move it forward cleanly. I've clamped this, and this is all square on the end there. Those are the little bits that I chopped off. It's also really important to remember which order they go in. So those ones I know have come from the end there, so that the grain continues to run nicely and continuously. So that's that one there. You can see where the grain matches. Right. This is what I was talking about. Insulated door with the cladding going the whole way across. It's got a really nice soft push close to it. Holds itself nicely. Whisper quiet. Now that can go across there the whole way up. And these little bits go across there, like that. It's the end of day 2, and I'm really pleased with my progress on this. Got cladding almost all the way around. Just got that little section to do, and this little section to do. Right, folks, it is day 3, and I'll definitely get this finished today, and I may start on some of the run, but I think I'll probably just work on the coop today. What I'm going to be doing is attaching a little latch here, so this holds in place, just so that we can get the chicken eggs out easily. And I'm also going to be putting some cladding. I've decided I will put some cladding on here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to notch out these bits here, so that when they sit up against the hinges, it's just a little bit more flush. Save kind of unsightly gaps, so that's fine. And I'm also going to put cladding. That stuff there is going to go down the front here, and then I've got some shorter stuff for this back side here. This is the tape I'm going to be using, and it's basically like a weatherproofing tape or a sheathing tape. All I'm going to do is run it along here, just like that. Don't know if you can see that particularly clearly, but the tape is on there, and all it does is allows me to open it, but it stops any water from potentially getting down there. And then this is decorative, and we'll just go over the top. You can hear it, or I've cut it and it locks into place, so that's good. Then I can measure another one and put it on top. And we are completely finished. No, not quite completely finished. I still want to put some trim on here, on the corners, just to cover these up. But the wrap is all done. The lid is secure. I need to waterproof this stuff with the same material as I used that. I've secured the lid, so that now latches really easily. So yeah, it's all done. I've got this soft closed door. I have amended these ever so slightly. I've put them up on struts here, and which allowed me to move them further into the middle this way. When they're on the edge here, that I don't think the chickens had enough space between there and there to roost. So we've just moved it a couple of inches that way, and the same on the other side. just brought them into the middle. They've still got space to fly up onto the roosts, but it is just a little bit more spacious there for them. So I'm really pleased with how this has come out. Now I need to do the coop run area, and I need to put some little trims, put some beads on the corners, which I'll make, and varnish the whole thing. And this is now completely finished. You can see I've put these little corner beads on. I actually really like the contrast, so I think I'm going to just varnish these and weatherproof them and leave the colour as it is, because from a distance I think it looks really quite nice having that slight contrast. These go all the way around, put them up on these bits. I tapered the edges here, and I also notched out a little bit underneath to accommodate that. I did that on both sides, so that now flip that up, that's still in place. And then also this is quite nice, ties in, but it also acts as the handle to open the door. What I did is I screwed it from the inside so that it's got extra strength. You know, you're not going to be yanking on it, but it's got a little bit of extra strength because there's not a vast amount of wood holding it in place. Pinned it, and I snipped off the ends of the pin so they didn't bite into the wood too much. So it's only pinned from the front and then hidden from the back there. And that is that. So that is the end of part one. I know it's been long. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you're still here at the end, thank you for watching. Please do give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, and a share. That'd be really helpful. Thank you. Part two, I've already started, and you'll be able to see that very shortly, which is going to be the coop and the run.